Hello everyone, welcome to episode 81 of Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com and all our websites affiliates. Thank you all again for watching last weekend, the week before, and the week before. We all appreciate the viewers. It's awesome. Our subscriber number is growing exponentially. It's a beautiful thing. Let's get right to your questions. I'm not even going to hassle around today. Let's just get right to it. This one is from John. The WWF/WWE has had two golden ages in the past. The 1980s and the Attitude Era, which included the Immortal Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin, respectively. In your opinion, which do you think was a bigger time period for them? Wow, I like that one a lot. Gotta go with the Attitude Era. And I say that, and I'm a Hogan fan, and I am an 80s fan. I love the 80s era of wrestling. I loved when the WWF whooped that ass. But when the WWF fell on hard times in the mid-90s and WCW started coming along, and started kicking their butt slowly but surely, it was the Attitude Era. It was Stone Cold. It was DX. It was Sable. It was Mr. McMahon. It was The Nation. It was, you know, all those guys that turned it around and started selling shitloads of merch, tickets, pay-per-view buy rates, everything turned around and skyrocketed. Paul Heyman said it best on the rise of WCW. The wrestling industry became like a dot-com industry. Everything just went through the roof. It bounced and just went crazy. It bounced low and then it went high through the roof. Tremendous time period, not just for the WWF at that point either. WCW was doing very, very good in '98 as well. During the early stages of the Attitude Era, WCW was still kicking butt. It took about a month before the WWF beat WCW in the ratings after Austin became about half a month before Austin and McMahon beat the WCW ratings that night, April 13th of '98. So, for me, my favorite is the Attitude Era, not the Golden Age. This is from Adam Castle, K-A-S-S-E-L. Since you've already listed your favorite wrestling factions, I was wondering which factions, any company you didn't like, were annoying to you, or you just feel like they flopped, didn't get a chance. NWO 2000, I liked, but flopped instantly because NWO Angle was so played out and it was done. The Union was a cool deal, but they flopped back in '99. The Corporate Ministry was just too much, I think. The Corporate Ministry was just overdone. Putting the Undertaker's faction and Vince's faction together was like, what, really? Really? How lame is that crap? I thought it was kind of stupid. I think the Triple Threat was good in ECW for a time, but I think that they wanted Bam Bam to be too independent and they took him out on his own and they didn't give enough of a chance to be the enforcer of the group and didn't let him really, expand. The Horsemen, the last incarnation of the Horsemen flopped, and I was sad because I like the Horsemen. That's pretty much it. This is from Ghost. What's your favorite Chris Benoit match and championship reign? Wow. I'm glad I got this question because nobody asks about Chris Benoit anymore. Except, in passing, they kind of throw him in there in the question. This is a direct Chris Benoit question. You'll like it. My favorite Chris Benoit match led into my favorite Chris Benoit championship reign. The match was the Triple Threat match, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20 for the World Heavyweight Championship, March of 2004. Chris Benoit won the championship that night, his first WWE World Championship reign. They called it his first World Championship reign, but everybody forgets he was WWE Champion for a day. But it was his first real significant World Championship reign. He reigned for 5 months, and it was the best 5 months of his career. He beat Triple H a couple times. He beat Kane a couple times. He was tag team champion at the same time with Edge. he whooped ass, and it was awesome to see Benoit be world champion. It was awesome to see him do his thing, and awesome to see him be a dominant champion. And even the match with Orton that he lost title was a tremendous match on both sides. Both those guys worked hard and worked their asses off, and it was just an awesome reign, an awesome end to a reign. Benoit was tremendous. He was great. I love it. All right, today's VRQ comes from the Jeremiah. I forgot it already. What is it?
Lewis.
No, okay. All right, today's VRQ comes from the Jeremiah Lewis.
Hello, Jeff. I was wondering, do you think that the WWE abandons characters too quickly? Examples being Kazarni and Mordecai. Mordecai, a character I thought could be as big as The Undertaker. Do you think that's true? Thanks.
I definitely appreciate the effort put into that one, as far as he was on screen and he was loud and you could hear him and just there was no background crap. It was awesome. His question is good as well. Abandoning characters, the two characters he mentioned, Kazarni in today's market I don't think was a good idea. I don't know. It didn't appeal to me. I didn't think it was very funny. I didn't think it was very well thought out. I think it just kind of threw that one together. Mordecai, Kevin Thorne, whatever his name is, Kevin Thorne, who later became Kevin Thorne, was much better off as Kevin Thorne. Mordecai, who was supposed to be the anti-Undertaker, so to speak, the light seeking the darkness. I didn't like that character at all. I thought that was way lame. And I'm sorry to disagree with you, Jeremiah, but that was way lame. Some characters they keep, look how long they stuck with, Chris Masters. Look how long they stuck with Eugene. Look how long they stuck with all these characters and allowed them to develop and to grow. I think you stick with characters that work long enough. But if the character doesn't have an initial reaction from the crowd that goes, hey, I like this guy, or hey, I really don't like this guy, I want to watch him get his ass whooped, the WWE has no use for him. I think that the characters that have a lasting impact stick around. The ones that don't. It's as simple as that. Matthew Calari? C-A-L-L-A-R-I. Calari. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Tough Enough, and why do you think only a handful of people to make it out of the show seem to make it? John Morrison, The Miz, Josh Matthews, Matt Morgan, and a few others. And who of those guys that seem to have actually made it and stayed around. He talks about Maven lasting a few years, but he was nothing special. Same with Nydia. Granted, there have been some injuries with Chris Nowinski and Matt Capitelli being the two main injury people there. But other than the few I've just named, there have been more injuries, failures, and retirements coming out of Tough Enough than there have been stars. Well, John Morrison right now is one of the biggest stars in the company. The Miz, was a star on MTV before Tough Enough. He was a star on The Real World, so he had that notoriety going into Tough Enough. He just wanted to be a wrestler. Josh Matthews is a commentator on ECW. He trained to be a wrestler and decided, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Let's go behind the desk. Let's go interview. Let's go do this. And he realized he had a career in WWE and still, maintained his status. He just went a different way. Matt Morgan is a great example of somebody who went through the WWE system and didn't quite make it WWE, went to TNA, and he's a big star. He's one of the biggest stars they got right now. Matt Morgan's a huge star in TNA right now because of his training he received from Tough Enough and the notoriety he got on WWE television. Chris Nowinski could have gone great places if he hadn't got hurt with his concussion, but he is a great spokesperson now and a great outspeaking role in the terms of injuries, and he was a great spokesperson for the industry when Chris Benoit's incident happened. Matt Capitelli, God, he had all the potential in the world, and then he got brain tumor, and it was a horrible thing to happen. Yes, you have your Nydias and your Mavens, the first champions who really didn't go very far other than the first year or two that they had after Tough Enough. They kind of fizzled out after that. Jackie Gata got into the business, met the love of her life, and had babies. Linda Miles was Shaniqua for a brief time and fizzled out. You know, Daniel Puder had this great big thing. He almost beat Kurt Angle in a warm-up match. Then he went into MMA and kind of fizzled out as well. So Tough Enough has gone back and forth. Tough Enough was a great concept. Tough Enough was a great idea. But in the long run, what I said would happen exactly happened. The people that actually went through and trained and really had the desire to be in the business, and not just some TV star, survived and have thrived. Alright, this is another question from our old buddy from XMV days, Greg Cherry, whose plug, by the way, is youtube.com/theplatinumindustry. The TSE host indie wrestling YouTube page. If you could create a Monday Night Wars video game, what all would you want in it? I would definitely want the NWO. I would definitely want Steve Austin and Mr. McMahon and the corporation. I would definitely want DX and the Nation. I would want Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. I would want Eric Bischoff, and I would want that's pretty much the main guys I would want, and yeah, the main characters from Monday Night War. I would also want to see a lot of I want to see WrestleMania 14, not so much 13. 13 was lame. 12 was okay. 15 was okay. WrestleMania 2000 would be awesome, but by then the war was over. The war was over in '99, so I want to see Starrcade '97. I'd want to see Bash at the Beach '96. I'd want to see Fall Brawl '96. I'd want to see Halloween Havoc '96, most of it. Super Bowl '97. Sold Out. I want to see Sold Out. I don't care what anybody says. NW Sold Out was bomb. It was awesome. It's from Joe Mama. Do you think WWF fans from 10 years ago would appreciate the current product, or we're just being discussed? That is a good question. I'm a fan from 10 years ago, which was 1999. And the product back then was as hot as it ever was. It was in the midst of the Attitude Era. 10 years ago this month, I believe this show is going to go up the end of September. So 10 years ago this month, Triple H was WWF champion, and he was in the midst of a feud with Vince McMahon, and WCW was a disaster area. WCW, I believe, the title was Sting, and he had turned heel, and he was about to go into Halloween Havoc and get the title held up, and the tournament was going to happen. Bret Hart would be the new champion. Wrestling was much better then than it is now. I firmly believe that. WWE's product has gone stale. TNA's product is just out there in Neverland somewhere. The indie scene is hotter now than it was 10 years ago. The indie scene rocks now than it did 10 years ago. But the mainstream product is much worse off now than it was then. Would they be discussed? No. I think the fans now then would see the business as I see it. Things have to get worse before they get better. And things have gotten worse, and they will get better. It will happen. This is from Keith Turner. I was wondering if you think anyone will ever win 16 world titles. With Kurt Angle winning his 13th last month, and Triple H not far behind. Actually, Triple H is also 13. The number does not seem that far from reaching. If these two do not reach it, who do you think might be able to have a serious run at 16 titles? I also think these titles should be titles in WWE or TNA. I know Vampiro claims he has several more than 16, but none of them are WWF, WWE, TNA, or WCW. Kurt Angle, officially, is not a 13-time TNA, WCW, WWE World Champion. Kurt Angle is a... Let me think for a minute here. I apologize. It'll make the show go longer, right? Let's see. No Mercy, Unforgiven, Armageddon, Vengeance. Kurt Angle is a 4-time WWE champion, 1-time World Heavyweight champion, and I believe a 3-time TNA champion. 3-time, let's see, 4-time, 3-time TNA champion, which makes him an 8-time world champion. He's about halfway there. Triple H is the closest. He is a 13-time world champion. Hogan is right behind him at 12. Hogan's not going to win more world titles, though. He's not going back to the company unless his Fed flops. Triple H is the closest. And Ric Flair actually has 20. If you want the official count, he's a 10-time NWA, 8-time WCW, 2-time WWE. That's 20. Triple H is going to be the man to do it if anybody does do it. I firmly believe that, if anybody does it. Will they? Will he? Don't know. Very hard to say at this point. Depends if DX continues on and if his body continues to want to function and win 3 more championships and be the guy. All right, it is time once again for everybody. Oh, sorry, wrong gimmick. Not gonna do the whole train. Don't worry. I stated myself really bad tonight. That's okay. It's time for the DVD review. I got a lot of requests for this one in the early stages when I first started doing this, and I wanted to do it, and I'm going to do it. Greatest Stars of the 1980s. I love this DVD. I love it, I love it, I love it. It talks about all my favorites. Bobby Heenan, Junkyard Dog, Sergeant Slaughter, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Piper, The King, Lawler. Arn Anderson, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, Jimmy Snuka, Bob Orton, Iron Sheik, Paul Orndorff, and of course Hulk Hogan. Just tremendously well put together. I like the layout of the DVD. I like the presentation. I like the way it was done. Just great. Tremendous DVD. And my favorite part of the DVD is it has the match from the Chi-Town Rumble from February 89 between Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. And the reason that's my favorite part of it is because that completes the set. Because on the first Ric Flair DVD that they released, the Ultimate Ric Flair Collection, it has the other two, the Clash of the Champions match from April and the Wrestle War match from May. So if you get this DVD, you can have the 3 best matches of all time in one house. It's awesome. I have this. I've got the Flair DVD. I also have the new Flair DVD that came out. I thought it was pretty good too. But if you get this one, you get that. You get Hogan and Piper or the War to Settle the Score, which I've never seen, and I've been a Hogan fan forever, but I've never seen the War to Settle the Score match from February 18, 1985. MTV covered it. Bob Costas was the guest ring announcer. Cyndi Lauper got involved. Mr. T got involved. Just a great DVD. I love this DVD. I recommend it for any wrestling fan that grew up when I did in the 80s, that, you know, didn't become a fan until the 90s, but grew up in the 80s. I was like, hey, you know what happened in the golden age? What happened in the original era? There you go, right here. Got good stuff. You got Piper, you got Slaughter, you got Flair, you got Hogan, you got all those guys in their heyday. Just buy it. Go buy it. Netflix it, whatever you want to do. Borrow it from a friend and burn it. Do it illegally. It doesn't matter. Just get your hands on this DVD. It's tremendous. William Walsh says, question, do you find it a pain in the ass whenever WWE does the draft lottery every year? At times I find myself forgetting who is on what show, and then when I figure out everyone on the show, they go ahead and switch the card again. Am I alone, or is this just another pain in the ass? The draft, I think, is a good idea, William. I'm sorry to disagree with you, but I think it's a wonderful idea. It shakes things up. It makes things exciting. It turns everything around. It's a good concept. I think it's a very good concept, and I think they'll keep it around for as long as they want to keep it around, and I like it. I like it a lot. Sorry to disagree with you. I think it's a good idea. I think it makes people wonder what's going to happen next. It keeps the fans guessing. It keeps the wrestlers guessing. They don't know what's going on. It keeps them on their toes. Keeps them, am I going to be a top guy? Am I going to be a draft pick? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Very good concept at WWE. I like it a lot. This one is from 808 Scott. Will Talk Wrestling ever do a joint show with the Wrestling Roundtable? In my opinion, I believe you and the Eric Santamaria crew would have killer counter commentary. I'm going to throw this out there right now to any SoCal-based YouTube wrestling show. Contact us. Email us. Don't put it on the YouTube comment board. I ain't going to read it. Okay? I'm not going to read it. Talk Wrestling, no DQ at yahoo.com, myspace.com/no-DQ Talk Wrestling, and even the Facebook page, which you can find by linking off my page, facebook.com/Jeff Meacham, or facebook.com/Aaron Riff. He's an admin now as well. and get a hold of us, and we'll make it happen. I'd love to do a joint show with somebody. I'd love to have banter back and forth and debate. I love doing Talk Wrestling. I love answering your questions. I love doing the DVDs. I love doing the VRQs. But every once in a while, I miss the banter between Mike and I. I miss the debating back and forth and going back and forth. You think this, well, I think this. You think this, I think that. So it would be great to have it every once in a while and have a debate going. So please, get a hold of me. If you're in SoCal, we'll do a video show together. Let's make it happen. This is from Michael McGill. What do you think is the best version of the cage match? War Games, Hell in a Cell, Caged Heat, or any of the gimmicky WCW style matches, Elimination Chamber, or just general cage? My favorite cage match is the Hell in a Cell. And just because it's so unpredictable, you never know what's going to happen in the cell. People get hurt, careers shorten, lives change, and it's just phenomenal. It's my favorite cage match. Has been since it debuted in '97, and I will continually sing its praises. That's why, again, I'm so pissed off at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, because they're going to make it less special. It's going to be crappy. Alright, that's going to do it for 81. We appreciate you again watching. Don't forget, at the end of the show, check out all the plugs, the pages that we're on. Keep subscribing on YouTube. Our numbers are, as I said, growing exponentially. They're awesome. We appreciate you guys subscribing. And don't forget to watch episode 82 of Talk Wrestling.